Hey everybody, happy Monday morning. And today we are going to be chatting all about presenting the business. And so this has been something that has been a sticking point for a lot of you from what you've been sharing in your comments. But first of all, just a little housekeeping. Thank you so much for being present, plugged in, engaged. It helps us so much when you guys let us know what you are tracking with and what is helpful to you. So thank you so much for doing that. But before we even get into presenting the business, there's a couple of things that I want to go over first, because what you need to remember is that your words and your actions have got to align. Words and actions have to align because people are paying attention to your behavior. You've got to remember that you're not cold presenting the business to people. And so these are people that you have relationships with who know you, that you know. And so as a general rule of thumb, they have probably already thought about doing what you do before you approach them. So the question is, what have they learned about being a coach by watching you? What have they learned by watching you? Hi, pretty people. So the first kind of thing that I want to tell you is don't respond so quickly. I know what it's like to be excited about your business and to have goals and to think that as soon as somebody sends you an email, a text, a Facebook message, comments on your post, that the immediate thing that you need to do is respond, because you're like, they're excited and I got to capitalize on while they're excited. And it doesn't matter if I am doing dishes, I'll drop it, I'll do whatever. And so this idea that you're teaching them that in order to be a coach, you have to be available all the time. And so if you work from 9 to 11, because that's when your child naps, or you work from 12 to 1, then respond immediately in your work time. But don't respond to them at 6 o'clock in the morning and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and at 10:30 at night, because that literally tells them that in order for me to be able to be a coach, I have to be available all the time. I have to respond to people's messages within 2 minutes. And so people respect boundaries. They respect that. And so remember that too, with the fact that the majority of your business is going to be composed of middlers. People that, your business, yes, it needs rock stars and it'll have rock stars, but you also need a really strong foundation of people that can see this potential in part-time income. And so if they don't have full-time hours and that's all that they see from you, or that is all that you talk about, then they're going to eliminate themselves from it. And so you need to remember that if you post beyond what most people can relate to, then they'll think that you're not a fit. They're not a fit for what you do. And so most of the people that are successful in direct sales in this business are simply people who are consistent sharers who don't give up. It's not incredible salespeople, super business savvy, or six-pack required, like none of those things. It's literally the people that are consistent in sharing their journey, and they do that over time. Those are the people that succeed in this business long term. And so think about, am I talking to a variety of people? Is my lifestyle, the way that I live my life, is it relatable and attainable by most people? And so just remember that you, no matter how much success you end up having in the business, you still have to celebrate the little success and talk about the little things that matter, because that's where everybody that's going to sign up with you, that's where they start. And so if they just think that you're at this crazy unattainable place and they have no tangible way to see any sign of your beginning, then they're not going to want to plug in. And again, they're going to eliminate themselves before you even talk to them. So within your post, the things that you share, make sure that you are speaking to all kinds of potential teammates, so that you aren't just speaking to one, so that you're not just speaking to who you are. And so let's say you're a full-time coach now, but have you always been? Or let's say that you used to be a mega fan of the company and then you became a coach. Are you still a mega fan? Like, can you still talk to that person that's a mega fan? So remember, there's 3 kinds of people that come into this business. and they are those mega fans, then they are like the part-time mom, and then there's also the full-time career. And so there's potential and there's a place for all three of those kinds of teammates on your team. But in order for you to be able to reach and recruit all three of those, you have to post and speak to all three of those people so that they will understand their importance and their place within your team. And it's not just there's one person that I'm looking for. I'm just looking for the part-time mom. I'm just looking for the part-time career. Like, make sure that they know that there's a place for all three. Now, another thing that we need to talk about within the presenting the business is don't use cheap bait, which basically means don't recruit with your paycheck. And I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here with this group, but honestly, what you hook people with is what you have to use to keep them with, and they don't come out making the salary that you've worked potentially months, years to get. They're not going to make that in the beginning. And so if you don't set the expectation for them to be like excited about those small successes to where like, hey, listen, let's make sure that you get enough challengers in your first group. Like, let's talk about like 3 challengers. If you get 3 to 4 challengers, then I think that what that'll do is that'll pay for your Shakeology this month. Like, that's a huge win. And so get them excited to have those expectations for this is what my first month is going to look like. My goal is to pay back the cost of what I invested in the business. That's my goal this month. And so if you set that expectation, then they'll continue working towards small successes. But like if I were to come out and I were to say, hey, listen, let me talk to you about what I do and give people all the numbers, but yet this is a business that I've been building for almost 10 years. Like, y'all, that's just cheap bait. It's not right. Don't do it because nobody can start in the place where it's taken me 10 years to work toward. And so don't use cheap bait and understand the difference between things that you can share publicly and things that you can share privately. So for example, you guys have never seen me share my income even discreetly, publicly, because there's no place for it there. There's no place for it because now I will talk differently in private conversations. If I'm doing a biz op presentation and I'm going to tell people what's possible within the business, I'm still going to set reasonable expectations and I'm not going to give salary numbers, but I'll give them a really good idea of what I was able to do and the timeline in which I was able to do it. But I will do that in a closed private setting of people that have elected to want to work this business and they have aligned with the purpose of what we do, just the purpose of what we do. The purpose of what we did intrigued them, not the paycheck that I make. And so if the purpose intrigues them, then I can share with them the paycheck that is possible if they'll continue to work. That's different. And so get yourself on phone calls. And if they ask questions, answer as honestly as you feel comfortable with what you've been able to do, with what your upline has been able to do, whatever you need to share. But there is no reason to put that out there as a means of getting people interested. Because if the reason why they contact you is because they're interested in the paycheck, I assure you they will leave your team for a different paycheck. So don't use recruiting in terms of money. All right. Now, let's just, a few more tips is and I kind of alluded to this last week, of do less presentations and have more conversations. And so here's some examples of just things that you can ask of, have you ever considered working part-time in fitness? Have you ever considered getting a discount on the product that you love so much? Have you ever considered doing what I do? Like, those are 3 really good conversation starters that you can have with people that don't require you to have a flip chart, a PowerPoint presentation, and like 5 points to earning this such income in whatever amount of years. You don't need to think about that in the beginning. What you're doing is, I'm going to have a conversation that will lead me into doing more of a presentation. But if you do a presentation right, they're asking you more questions and you're leading them to answer those. And so what do you do in the beginning? I know a lot of you are new coaches. So what do you do in the beginning? You need to remember that your credibility grows as you present the business, but how you promote the opportunity shouldn't change, because everybody has to begin at the beginning just like you did. And so if your business opportunity changes as your success level changes in the business, you're probably being dishonest with how you recruit. Now, your story will slightly change, the things that you'll be able to say in terms of what you've been able to personally accomplish, but the foundation of the business opportunity should not change. And so these are the things that you need to remember if you're the beginning. So if you've already signed up and they haven't, then no matter what their background is when it comes into their company. So let's say that they've been a figure competitor for 12 years. It doesn't matter. You still have been a Beachbody coach for a week longer than they've thought about it. And so you know more than they do. So go into your conversation knowing that no matter what their resume says, when it comes to being a Beachbody coach, you are the expert. You are the expert. So then remember that you have the opportunity to learn the stories of others in your company and share those in addition to your own. This is one of the things that is so important about being a part of the National Wake Up Call is every single time that somebody presents, they give a snippet of this is where I was when I started. And then this is what I've been able to accomplish now. And so there's lots of times that I have conversations with people to where I'm not sure if they're going to relate as much to my story, but it's like, hey, listen, I've got a friend that used to be a radiology tech too. And this is her story of how she kind of got started and what was the appeal to her, so being on the National Wake Up Call and getting to hear different stories from people, it helps you to recognize and realize, like almost every single time I listen to somebody on the National Wake Up Call and I listen to their story, I think of somebody that I know in my real life and I'm like, I wonder if they would consider coaching. And so learn those stories by being on the National Wake Up Call. Another principle for in the beginning is don't fake it till you make it. Tell the truth and invite people to do it with you. Don't pretend like you've had success that you haven't. Guys, I've seen this backfire so many times. There was a girl that I've known for a really long time, and she and I share a lot of mutual friends, and she would use words because she had a business coach that told her that like you fake it till you make it. And so she would use words like join the hundreds of women in our community. And there were a couple of friends that I had that considered joining, and they said, she did like a sneak peek into her community or whatever, and got in there, and there were less than 20 women in it. And she's advertising it as hundreds. And so then people are like, okay, well, check out, because she's a liar. So don't fake it till you make it. Like literally, if you're brand new, you can say, hey, listen, I've never done one of these programs from start to finish, but I don't want to just start Lift 4. I want to finish it. Would you consider finishing Lift 4 with me? Or, hey, listen, I just started this business. You and I used to play soccer together in high school, and I know how much you motivated me as an athlete. Have you ever thought about like capitalizing on your athletic past and the fact that there's a lot of people that are really inspired by how fit you are and they would want to be led by you in this way? Like, again, don't pretend that you've had success and think that you have to do it. Just, hey, listen, I just started this and I thought about you. You want to do it together. Let's do it together. And then the really important thing to remember this is if you think getting started is hard, like don't even think about quitting if you expect to be here long term, because starting is way easier than starting over. And so every time you have to, you stop doing what you've been doing and you have to start over, it's even harder than getting started. So if you, this past week, if you're still here, that means you've gotten started and you are talking to people, you're having conversations, you're making an impact. If you decide to disappear, the next time that you come back, it's even harder. And it's not even so much that everybody else doesn't believe in you as much, it's that your belief in yourself goes down. And so just continue to show up. Continue to show up. All right, so couple of more things about presenting the business, and then we'll go into kind of what a format looks like. Is be patient. Beachbody's got this awesome thing we call the vital process. And so customer before teammate is the best practice. It does not mean that there are not exceptions, but think about it. You do less teaching in getting them started if they've had the opportunity to be in your challenge group and watch your example and learn from you there, they'll know what to do. They'll know how to lead a group. They might not know about the challenge group guides. They might not know about that kind of stuff. But as a general rule of thumb, they'll have an idea of what they do as a coach because they've had a chance to watch you. And so that means that they get to start their business as a satisfied customer rather than a training salesman. Like, you guys, if you've ever been like at a restaurant and there's like a waitress in training, like, don't you just feel bad for her? Because here she is, she's working, she's, next to this, but she's like just useless standing there. And so don't put them in that position to where they are, having to be thrown into the job, versus there have been a couple of restaurants I've been to where they do this really, really well, to where it's like they're sharing the responsibility, they're doing something together. The lead waitress, waiter takes the lead, and then the other one is just kind of there to support and help and whatever. So understand that it just always, when you start selling something, when you haven't really established a belief in it yourself, people always know. They always know. They always can tell. And so there's a really good chance that in order to set people up for success, it starts by them being a customer of yours first and then jumping in. Now, there will be exceptions of people who plunge right in. There absolutely will be, but let those people be the exception, not the rule. And it means that you have to be patient. Like, it requires your patience, but I promise you it's worth it. So, okay, let's think about this in any other business. Let's say you walked into a store for the first time. You're walking into a store for the first time, and would you think it was weird if they handed you a job application? Like, if you just walked in, you've never been in the store before ever, and they're like, "Hey, you want to work here?" And you're like, can I see what you guys sell or do first? And so remember that in healthy business, like, this is what we have to think of, because I know there's like the network marketing brainwashing sales thing that we have, but then there's also like so many other levels of this. And so in any healthy business, there are more customers than employees, right? There's more customers than employees. And so customers first, and then from those customers, take the standouts and turn those into employees. That's what every other business does. And if you want a strong foundation for your business, that is the best way to do it. And so let's just think about majority of direct sales. Nobody's saying any names. We're not bashing here. But if you see them talk about the business more than they talk about the product, okay, red flag. Red flag. And so FDA has regulation, not FDA, FTC has regulations against it, but we need to make sure that we are producing belief in the product that we sell and the service that we provide and the work that we do. That's what we need a foundation of, because that's what makes repeat customers, and that's what makes really good coaches. It's not a either or thing. It's both. It is belief in the product, the services, and the work that we do that will make customer loyalty and really strong coaches. So make that your focus. All right. There's group recruiting opportunities where you are going to see an example for us. In a one-on-one setting, I want you to really just kind of be careful in making a one-on-one conversation feel too much like a presentation, because one-on-one conversations where somebody is like just forcing an agenda on you and word vomiting and talking, like within a one-on-one conversation, you should probably actually listen more than you speak, and you should let them ask questions and guide. So something that I do in a one-on-one conversation, even when I've gone through and I've had that initial question and I've said, "Hey, listen, have you ever thought about working part-time in fitness? Have you ever thought about doing what I do? Have you ever considered, if I'm having those conversations, then it's like, hey, listen, I have thought about it. Well, listen, let's set up a time to get on the phone and let's talk." And so before I jump into, this is my story with coaching and this is what I do and this is, I'm going to ask questions from hey, listen, thank you so much for talking about me. Can you just talk me through? You did say that you had considered doing what I do as a coach. Like, what do you think about that? Why do you think that you would potentially be a good fit for this? Why does it interest you? And then I might say something like, well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. After they give me their answer of why, let me be like, I really want you to guide this conversation. I want you to know right now, you joining my team or not joining my team, I'm not going to pressure you. I genuinely want to help you to be able to make the best decision for you and your family. And so if you give me any answers that I don't think that it's going to be a good fit for you, I promise you that I'll be the first person to let you know. Because I don't want you to do that. I'm not going to force you to make a decision that you think will make me happy. I only want you to do what you want to do. So that being said, I don't know how much you know about coaching. And so I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask me anything. I will be an open book with you about my story, what I've done. I just kind of want us to have a conversation as friends. I don't want to give you a fancy presentation. I just want to I don't want to tell you a bunch of things that you already know if you've already done some research on it. But B, I also don't want to assume that there are things that you do know if you don't. And so you guide our conversation. Ask me questions. I'm here to help you. And so I really take the pressure off of myself in those conversations and I'm just going to be a listener. And what I'm listening to is, do you have a problem that I have a solution for? That's it. And I'll continue to present solutions to them as I hear problems that I go, hey, I think that I can help with that. But the group recruiting opportunities is what we're going to be doing for you. So go ahead. You can start recruiting and adding to this group. We'll get a Zoom call up soon, so you'll have that link. But it's going to be at 8:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. And so the leaders that are here in this group will do a group opportunity call. So this is the format that I go through when I do group recruiting calls. So hopefully, as long as my leaders agree with me, this will be the format that you'll kind of get to see an example of on Wednesday night. You can do this as a Facebook group, as a sneak peek opportunity. You can do a Zoom call. We'll probably do Zoom for this one because I think there's power in being able to see faces. But this is kind of the format that I go through when I do those group opportunity calls. So just kind of, you can make yourself some notes for this. The first thing that I'll always do is I'll congratulate them for being invited to be on the call. And the reason why I do that is because it's literally just releasing the pressure from anybody feels from anything that I've got to make a decision or whatever. And it's just, hey, listen, what you need to know is whoever invited you, they believe in you, they think you're awesome, and they'd love to have you on their team. And so no matter what you decide to do at the end of this call tonight, just know whoever invited you really thinks that you're an incredible leader and they'd love to invest in you and to help you to be able to be a part of this business that they love to. And so it's a congratulatory factor of helping them realize that you believe in them and that you think that they have a lot of great potential to lead people and to make a difference. So congratulate first. And then the second thing that I typically come in and do is I will give them just a brief history of how Beachbody got started and how it came to play, because I think that it's really powerful for them to understand that, because a lot of direct sales opportunities were created to be direct sales because that takes a lot of the marketing pressure off of the company. And it's a great income strategy because then you have people that buy every product because they're trying to sell products. And Beachbody really saw the message boards working for them. And from the message boards working, they said, okay, wait. So if our customers are really the people that are helping other people, and that's like the missing link of, we've got fitness, we've got nutrition, there's this missing accountability link, and the people that have had success with the program are the people that are most incredible. So why don't we figure out a business model that helps people get results? Because the deal is, like, y'all need to know this if you don't know this, like, they were not having any issue selling DVDs on infomercials. They were having trouble getting success stories. And that was when the network marketing opportunity came into play, because it was a way that they could get more success stories, not sell more fitness programs. And so I'll kind of share that so that they kind of understand what they can expect from Beachbody, how Beachbody got started, the foundation of what Beachbody does from us. Then I'll kind of go into an idea of what a day in Beachbody coaching actually kind of looks like. And if I'm doing this with more than one leader, then I'll make sure that they get to hear 2 vantage points. So maybe they'll get to hear from more of a full-time person and then more from a part-time person of, this is how I use Power Pockets to fit this into my life. And then from a, hey, listen, I used to do this part-time, now I do this full-time. But they kind of get to see that even if the hours are a little bit different, that the activities are the same and that that's what unites our team. And then from there, I'll go into what makes our team different. What can they expect from us? What does us as a team iron, what do we represent and what do we offer and what do we do? So that they know too that they're not just getting Beachbody, they're getting even smaller down condensed version of like-minded women. And this is our team mission. So I'll break down the sharpening one another and serving in health and how that may look different. And I may even refer to it as a Beachbody bubble of, listen, this is who we are. This is what we do. This is a community of why we exist. If this team doesn't sound like a good fit for you, then you are free to go to another team. But I want to help you to understand what drives and motivates our team. So this is why we're here. And then from there, it is, I'm going to call it a hard call to action, but it's not a close because the close happens by the person that invited them. So I will start the call to action and I'll basically say, you have 3 options in getting off this call. The first one is to say, hey, listen, I'm all in. This company sounds exactly like what I need to be a part of. I've been looking for an opportunity like this and I would love to join the mission of this team. So you need to go and you need to talk with the person that invited you about the challenge pack that's going to be the best fit for you to get your business started. Second thing is, hey, listen, I'm not sure if the business side is what I need, but the fitness side is definitely what I need. I want to kind of test drive it before I buy. And I think that joining this as a customer is going to be the best fit for me right now. And then later, because you've joined as a customer with a challenge pack, should you decide to be a coach later, you can do that for free with your initial challenge pack purpose. And then your third option is to reach out to the person who invited you and tell them why, like something that you're going to do differently. Because the reason, if you don't want to be a part of our team mission, you did get on this call for a reason, whether that was, something that is missing in your life or your fitness or your family or whatever, like there's something going on. So if your action step is as simple as saying, hey, listen, I know that I need to get my evening eating in check. And so instead of munching on chips, I'm going to munch on carrots. And that's it. I'm going to go from there. But just make sure that they understand they got on the call for a reason. And what we want them to do is we want them to take a step forward, a positive change, whether that is joining us as a teammate, joining one of our teammates as a challenger, or simply just saying, hey, listen, I'm inspired by you guys to live a little bit healthier and I'm going to do that. And so I'm going to give them those 3 options kind of in getting off. And so that's the format that I always go through in presenting the business. Again, it's not going to answer every single question that they have, but it's going to open a dialogue for the person that invited them to be able to do that close and to kind of customize what they need. But it's also going to open a door to where if they don't want to do the business, do they still want to be a challenger? But then also that third option of really just understanding the mission of our team is to sharpen one another and to serve in health. And so if nothing else, that's what we want to make sure that we can do for you. And so, closing it there. But it lets them see the purpose of what we do, what a day looks like, and the heart as well. So if you were expecting me to get on here and to just kind of give you a really fancy PowerPoint presentation, that's not what it looks like, because at the end of the day, they need to probably experience the business as a customer first. And if they've had a great experience with it, then when they hear that pitch of what we do, then if it's something that they want to do, that's going to be enough and that's going to be all that they need. And so let them guide the conversations. Understand too that if they ask you a question that you don't know the answer to, you don't have to pretend you know the answer. What you can do is you can say something like, hey, listen, I think that I know the answer, but I want to confirm that with my coach or in our company FAQs. So I'm writing that down. And when we get off the phone, I'm going to confirm that answer. And then I'll text you or I'll send you a voice memo to let you know. So they are not expecting you to have every single answer right there immediately. And so if you don't know, check first. The FAQs is a great place for you to get started. You can have it right there. So we just invite those people to this group, or no, don't invite them to this group. You'll get a Zoom call link to give them, for Wednesday night. So right now you can just we'll get an image up here as well as the Zoom link, and we'll have that call on Wednesday night so you can get that going. All right. Any other questions on presenting the business? As always, while I'm waiting, if you're watching the recording and you have questions, feel free to tag me in them. Gotten you in all the feels this morning. Less is more. Aim for their heart regardless of the answer. That's right. How long would you say is too long for these types of one-on-one calls? So I try to say they're 20 minutes. So that way, if they go to 30, then I look generous. But I try to cap it off at 30 of just like, hey, listen, it's a basic interest call. I'm not trying to get you to force you to make a decision today. I just want to be able to answer all of your questions. So, and I'll typically start that by saying something along the lines of, I know your time is valuable. So it's like, I am valuing your time, not mine. I'm helping you to understand. I know you've got small kids at home. I know you've got lots of things going on. So I just want to be able to answer your questions quickly. The good news is, as we become teammates, we'll be able to have lots more conversations. This isn't our only one. But I really just kind of wanted to get a feel for where you're at and to see if I could help answer any questions that you have that might help you to see if this is something that you'd like to explore. You should, let's see here, Carrie. I will sometimes share in social media about these calls and sometimes just share in private message only. What's your take here? I think the private message is probably the best way to go in terms of getting people that are actually going to come, because they're probably going to come from people that have been your challengers before. So if you have like a graduates group for people that have joined in your challenge group, or then you might put it out there of like, just, hey, let's think about this. If you've had a great experience as a challenger and you'd like to look into more of what I do on the coaching side, I know that I've got a lot of really great leaders here. I don't want to pressure you, but if it's something that would interest you in learning more, I'd be happy to have you. And then you might even say, feel free to send me a direct message if you have more questions. But you could always just, again, it's the mission of the team. So you'll see tomorrow, I'm doing a post tomorrow about it. And so you can kind of see an idea, and I'll try to remember to share my post in this thread of what I say, but it'll probably be something along the lines of just explaining the mission of sharpening one another and serving in health. And if that's something that being a part of that mission is exciting to you, I'd love to invite you to an opportunity to be able to learn more. So something along that. What if you feel like you're just sticking your toes in this business and the MLM has a rough reputation in your area? Just understand that there are going to be people like, I don't hide behind the stigma of what Beachbody coaches have done wrong. Because I think that in every MLM, there's people that are annoying and do it wrong. And so what you have to remember is that you're not them. And the way you work your business is different. And the purpose of why you work your business is different. And the people that as a general rule of thumb, look at it this way. Even if the Beachbody has a bad reputation in your area where you live, and are there still people there who need to work out at home and need help in their nutrition? Because if there are, then you still have a solution to a problem that people have. And because not doing something about it just because a couple of other people are annoying isn't a good reason. And so just have the confidence to know that you as a brand is bigger than Beachbody as a brand for people that are in your warm market. People in your cold market, Beachbody might be the bigger brand. But people that are in your warm market, you are the bigger brand than Beachbody. And so you have the power to change their minds because you're different. Because you're different. Oh, not Beachbodies and MLM, but MLMs in general. So, I mean, again, we're going to talk about that on the call. And I think if somebody gives you that reason to say, hey, listen, we agree. There are people that are really creepy, but I think you'll see quickly that our team isn't like that. And so I'd love to, if health and fitness is something that you'd really like to be a part of, like, I'm just going to encourage you to come and listen. If you still hate it and you still feel like we're creepy MLM people, then you can leave. And no hard feelings. But we're different. And again, if there's that trust factor there, they'll believe you. All right. Any other questions? These are good ones. All right. Okay. Ladies, y'all are amazing. So get those Power of Fives in today. Again, if you have questions as you watch the recording, don't hesitate to tag me and we'll go from there. All right. So Wednesday, 8:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will get all of that stuff up for you. If people aren't able to jump on the call at that time, will they have access to the later? As long as technology is kind to us, yes. That's always the goal, but it is dependent upon technology's kindness. So, but the goal is hopefully that they could be on live so that they can ask questions if they have them. But if not, then we will hopefully be able to get the recording to them. All right. Peace out, ladies. Happy Monday. I'll see you soon.